Have you ever had to defend an idea that you held? Have you ever used evidence and offered proof to give a reason for your beliefs? Have you ever pointed out inconsistencies and false claims and beliefs you didn't hold? Have you ever had questions about your own beliefs and searched for answers to see if what you believe was justified? If you answered yes to any of these questions, then you've encountered apologetics. Apologetics simply means to give a defense, to say why you believe what you believe. Originally, apologetics was a legal term that ancient Greeks used to refer to a courtroom defense. And like a courtroom defense, Christian apologetics can be the formal presentation of a case, but it's not restricted to that. Apologetics can also be in casual conversation, in works of art, or simply in the way in which Christians live their lives. Regardless of the form it takes, when we defend the Christian faith, we use apologetics in three ways. First, we argue for the truthfulness of the Christian claims. There are many ways to make a case for Christianity. Some use philosophical arguments, such as the Kalam cosmological argument or the argument for morality. Some use historical evidence, such as the case for the bodily resurrection of Jesus Christ or the argument from fulfilled prophecy. And some use scientific evidence, such as the design argument. The case for Christianity can use just one focus or use a number of arguments in conjunction with each other. And as history progresses and advances are made in our knowledge, new ways of defending the faith will continue to arise. Second, we defend the Christian faith by answering the objections to it when it's challenged. Sometimes it's attacked by people who are openly hostile to it. Sometimes the attacks are misunderstandings or mischaracterizations, and sometimes someone simply has an honest question. The important thing in these situations is to listen to the concerns of the individual so you can tailor your defense to speak to them in a way that is relevant to them. Third, we defend Christianity by showing how all other belief systems are false. In this context, we show that non-Christian claims are incoherent, illogical, and/or not supported by fact. Proving other beliefs to be false doesn't itself show Christianity to be true, but non-Christian claims are still objections to Christianity and therefore need to be answered. The goal of each of these aspects of defense is to clear away obstacles that stand between a person and the cross of Christ. And in each of these three areas of apologetics, we are, of course, trying to persuade people that Christianity is true. But we're trying to do more than just give them reasons to simply agree intellectually. We're not just trying to move them to believe, but to act on their belief, to reorder their lives centered on this truth. This is because Christianity is true, not a personal preference. The difference between these two things can be the difference between life and death. Picture yourself in a giant supermarket that is fully stocked, but instead of selling food, this supermarket sells religions. The names of all the departments are the same, but they've taken on a different meaning, a symbolic meaning. For example, the meat department sells Judaism because in the Old Testament, the way to receive forgiveness was through animal sacrifice and blood atonement. Or what about Hinduism? Hinduism might be found in the aisle where you'd find rice, since bags of rice have tons of different grains in them, and Hinduism has 330 million different gods that are all really part of the same thing, just like rice. Islam is in the natural food section. Natural food is where you find food that doesn't have anything artificial added to it, like preservatives. Islam says that the Old and New Testaments have all sorts of stuff added to it, and that only the Quran has the pure original teachings from God. New Age religion is found in the candy section, since it's really all about just making you feel good. Dead religions, beliefs that nobody believes anymore, like Greek mythology, are found in the frozen food section. Christianity, with all its scenes in gardens and farming parables, is in the produce department. Buddhists believe that it doesn't really matter if there's a God or not, and that they have the ability to save themselves. So the Buddhist is sitting in an empty shopping cart pushing himself around the store. And there's a guy who can't find anything in the store at all. The atheist, of course. Some shoppers are strictly vegetarian, some eat only meat, but all the diets are of equal value in the store. They all do basically the same thing. They feed you something. In charge of the checkout counter is death itself. After you put everything you want in the shopping cart, you pay with your life. And whether there's anything outside the exit door and what happens there is the big question. But is religion really like this, where you can choose whatever you want to believe and it's no better or worse than anyone else's choice? Or is religion something entirely different, like an antidote or a cure? Instead of a supermarket, picture yourself in an emergency room with a serious illness. The doctor explains that the illness is 100% fatal unless you get a shot of one particular antidote. The doctor also says that recovery from the illness after taking the antidote has a 100% success rate. By saying this, the doctor is telling you that your preferences do not matter at all. They don't count. Whether or not you like to get shots is irrelevant. This particular disease has a particular remedy that can only be given in a particular way. Do it or die. Because this illness is so serious and because there's only one cure, it's extremely important to go to a doctor who knows what they're talking about. No one having a heart attack wants to go to a doctor who thinks the cure is to put a cast on your leg. You have to have the right treatment no matter how much you don't like it or how painful it is or how offensive it is to you. You don't get to go shopping for the treatment you like best. The cure is the cure, period. If we understand Christianity correctly, we see it as an antidote, not a lifestyle choice or a part of a well-balanced religious diet. Jesus is not like cherry-flavored cough syrup that we happen to like better than the Buddha lemon-flavored cough syrup. Like the antidote, Christianity can be painful and inconvenient, it might not be cool, and it might be offensive. Most of us would rather treat our religion with a supermarket approach, where we always ended up with a religion that fit our lifestyles and that could change as we changed. But we can't live that way because what we need is the truth. As a result, some Christians see apologetics as pre-evangelism. It's not the gospel, but it prepares the soil for the gospel. Others don't make that distinction. They see apologetics and evangelism as deeply entwined facts of the gospel. Whatever its relationship to the gospel, apologetics is an extremely important enterprise that can profoundly impact unbelievers and be used as the tool that persuades them to put their trust in Jesus Christ.